Hello and welcome to the BYU Library Family History webinar. We're glad you could join us today. I'm Olivia Tuller and I'll be your host for this webinar. If you have technical difficulties during the webinar, please use the chat box and I can address your concerns. You are welcome to use the chat box during the webinar for comments, insights, and questions. However, all questions will be addressed at the end of the presentation. Our next webinar is on January 29th with Maureen Brady on Scottish Family History Research, Historical and Geographical Background. If you would like to access a previous webinar, please visit our webinar index on our website or search on our YouTube channel. All of our webinars are recorded and uploaded by the following Monday for your convenience. We also post links to recordings and other updates on our Facebook and Twitter accounts. For today's webinar, we are pleased to hear from Bob Taylor on new training tools in the Family History Guide. Before we begin, here's a little bit about Bob. Bob Taylor has been actively doing family history for over 25 years. He has combined his passion for genealogy with his background in instructional design to produce an industry-leading learning resource for family history, the Family History Guide website. Bob earned his bachelor's degree from Brigham Young University and master's degree from California State University, Los Angeles, both in music education. A career change led him to instructional design and technical writing, where he has worked for large technology corporations such as Intel and Western Digital. At Intel University, he redesigned key training courses for employees and managers worldwide, as well as teaching management courses in the Western U.S. He has authored many online and written learning systems, helping others accelerate learning in technology, music, and family history. Bob has been a featured presenter 5 times at the RootsTech Conference in Salt Lake City, as well as the WikiTree International Symposium for 2022. Bob has presented at the Family History Library in Salt Lake City, Riverton Family Search Library, and the BYU Family History Conference. He has also presented to genealogical societies in over 20 U.S. states and in Canada. And we'll now turn the time over to Bob.
Great. Thanks so much, Olivia. Happy to be here and excited to go in a little bit more in depth in the training tools available in the Family History Guide website. So if you're new to the website, hopefully you'll take some time to go through the menus and so forth. We're assuming in this webinar that you are at least somewhat familiar with it, so we won't be going through all of the menus and so forth. But it's pretty easy to navigate on the site. So with that, let's get started. So we're going to talk about different audiences that might be interested in doing training with the Family History Guide website, a bit of background about the training tools, and then we're going to dive into the tools and resources in the Family History Guide. Okay, so speaking about audiences, one of the audiences that is very interested in using the Family History Guide for their training purposes is genealogical societies and groups. So the Family History Guide Association, the association is who sponsors the Family History Guide website. It's a nonprofit organization. So we are now an educational partner with the National Genealogical Society, or NGS. And we are contracted to provide on-demand training for over 500 membership chapters on how to use the Family History Guide for research and training their members. So it'll be somewhat similar to what you're seeing and learning in this webinar, the types of things that would be presented to NGS. We also provide training for other genealogical societies and groups that are not part of NGS as resources are available. So that's genealogical societies. Another audience is libraries, and this is both public and private libraries. That could be schools, universities, all sorts of different categories there. We're reaching out to libraries nationwide to boost their involvement and awareness of the Family History Guide website. And we even have a libraries page in the Family History Guide site that has resources that help library personnel use the Family History Guide website. And so if you think of libraries, lots of libraries already have genealogical staff in place, and the Family History Guide can be a tremendous asset for them to be able to reach out to patrons or to organize training classes and so forth. Another audience here is family history consultants. So these could be at family search centers, or they could be people who do consulting with family history. And the Family History Guide is in the Family Search portal at all 5,000 plus family search centers worldwide. Important to note that the Family History Guide is not part of Family Search and not endorsed by Family Search, but we do have a good working relationship with them, and we stay in touch, and our goals are pretty much in sync with what we'd like to accomplish. Okay, so background about developing training materials. On the left side, we have a traditional approach, and on the right side, we have a somewhat different and revolutionary approach. I would think of it as that. So traditionally, when you're talking about developing some course materials for family history classes that you'd like to teach, traditionally, number one, you'd hunt around for materials that you want to include. So that would be maybe your own personal things or things out on the internet. And then you would build slide decks and handouts. And then after you get that finished and deliver your class, you would try to keep the slides up to date if you have to repeat the class and deal with outdated versions. And then comes the whole thing about, oh, how do you distribute the materials? Who do you distribute it to? How do you keep it all in sync and so forth? And then you have to deal with that process for each new class that you do. And that, to my thinking, that's one of the reasons why we don't see more classes develop, is because traditionally it's just a lot of work and a lot of repetition. Briefly, with the Family History Guide, the website itself, the Family History Guide, is the content repository. And you can download, modify, and study what we call class outlines, and we'll talk about those specifically a little bit later on. And those class outlines greatly accelerate your development of class material that you can offer, and it helps expand the types and categories of classes that you are able to offer, even beyond what you thought you might be able to do. And of course, the nice thing is the website is updated for you. You don't need to worry about that. Your learners basically will be taking the website home with them and using that as their study material. Okay, so tools and resources. Where do you find those good things? In the Family History Guide, there is a trainer's menu, and the menus basically drop down from the top if you're on a laptop or a desktop. If you're on a tablet or a phone, then the menus appear on the left side after you click that familiar three-line menu controller thing. So this is based on a laptop or full desktop. The trainer's menu you can see here, and this has most of the tools that we'll be talking about today. We're going to be talking about 2-minute demos, the Family History Guide on paper, practice exercises, class outlines, the Q&A Center, Show Me slides, quizzes, the Family History Guide for libraries, and then over in the tools menu, we have a new feature that's called Online Tracker Sheets. We'll talk about that a bit. And then we'll spend some time looking through our YouTube channel to point out a couple of resources that can be really helpful to you in your training efforts. So with that, let's have one more item here. I thought that this would be kind of a fun way to get the correlation of what we're trying to accomplish with the Family History Guide. And I thought, well, one way to make an analogy is with food, because we like food. So number one, 2-minute demos, you can think of them like a snack option. Sometimes the people that you want to help learn family history they're brand new to the site. Perhaps they don't know what the Family History Guide is, or perhaps they're highly motivated and they can run with the ball, pretty much themselves and don't need a lot of hand-holding or extra involvement. So the 2-minute demos are a way to hit the highlights of the Family History Guide and expose people to items that they may not be aware of that can help them follow a good learning path with their family history training. Number two, practice exercises, show me slides, and several other things. That's like cooking up something quick. It takes a minimal amount of preparation, and you're able to provide some hands-on exercises and learning activities right from the Family History Guide. Class outlines is more like the complete meal deal, delivered right to your kitchen of learning, and you basically heat and serve. So we'll talk about class outlines in a bit, but that is the way that you can construct class materials and even customize them, make them available to your students, and be able to have a rich learning experience with a minimum amount of preparation. So where's the food? It's right there in the Family History Guide, which is the nice thing. Okay, so let's dive in and talk about each of these training tools a bit at a time to get you a little more familiar with them. First of all, we have 2-minute demos, and these help learners find and get into the Family History Guide quickly and easily. So let's jump over to the website here. This is the home page for the Family History Guide. And we're going to go to the trainers menu here. And here's 2-minute demos. We're going to click that. Okay, scroll down a bit. So why would you want to learn about 2-minute demos? Well, sometimes you may be involved in family history fairs. Sometimes you may be on an elevator with someone and say, hey, have you heard about the Family History Guide, and what is it? And what could you tell them in 2 minutes that would be of interest? And to help guide and organize that procedure, we have these kind of instant formulas that you can use, each having 8 items to say and show for the 2-minute demos. So what I'm going to do first is click this website overview here. And in quotes are the things that you would say, and in italics are the actions that you would perform. So this is something that you can study really quickly and easily with what to say and what to do in giving a website overview, for example. And here's items 1 through 8. And I can click the next link, and you've got some more features here. Click it to hide it, country pages, and so forth. So obviously, you could mix and match these different items. You could have some from website overview, some from additional pages, some from country pages, however you wanted to do that, and put together some really succinct and hard-hitting items that would appeal to people who are perhaps new to the Family History Guide. And other categories, United States pages, activity pages, and if you have people who are interested in training, you can give them some tips there as well. So those are good, but you also may want to study the whole thing in one place. So we actually created a Google Doc, and the link is right up here. And you can open that up and download the Google Doc, and it's got all of the different points. It's about 5 pages long with all of the tips and the things you say and the actions that you take. So it's all handy in one place. So that's 2-minute demos there. Very handy. We're actually going to use this format with our booth workers at RootsTech, who are going to be giving 2-minute demos out at the workstations out in front of our booth. And they'll be going over these different items to help people who are coming up to the booth and having questions about the Family History Guide. Okay, so that's their 2-minute demos. Let's go on to the next one. TFHG, if you don't know what that stands for, obviously that's the Family History Guide. We use that acronym sometimes. In terms of naming and conventions, we always like to use the, so we don't necessarily want to call it the guide or Family History Guide. We like to use the full name, the Family History Guide. So the Family History Guide on paper is an easy way to see what's in the Family History Guide, and it's suitable for printing. Let's go ahead and take a look at that. Up in the trainers menu, we have TFHG on paper right here. And the inspiration behind this was I've given presentations on the Family History Guide, for example, in a small room or a chapel or something, actually in larger rooms like chapels or stake centers. And the problem is that usually you'll have a projection screen, and sometimes it's just hard to see what's on the screen, especially if you've got computer text, and you're looking at web pages and so forth. The people in the back are having usually kind of a hard time figuring out what's on the screen. So this TFHG on paper is a PDF that actually has screen captures and basic ingredients that help you get the idea of what it's like. So if you were in one of those presentations and you couldn't see the screen, you could have access to those handouts and you could follow right along. Let's take a look at the first one here, presenting TFHG on paper. And you can see here that we have a 2-column format, and it takes you through basically the essential screenshots, navigation, how to find activities, how to do the research, the country pages, and so forth. All on 2 pages. So it's a very handy way to get a handout for a presentation or even a class that you might be presenting as well. And if we go down a little bit farther, presenting TFHG on paper, a Latter-day Saint focus. This is the same as the other one we saw, except that it has pulled in some items of interest for Latter-day Saints. So we have different sections in the website like Church of Jesus Christ, weekly family history activities, which is like a come follow me companion for family history. So this gives you some extra and additional information and details of how to incorporate those elements into a presentation with the Latter-day Saint focus as well. All right, so that is presenting TFHG on paper. If you, by the way, want to print off selected portions of the Family History Guide, if I went to, like, say, Learning Search Family Search Learning Path, there is a print button where you can do selective printing. And this I usually cover in an introduction class to the Family History Guide. But check it out. It's very flexible and powerful, and you can hide or show graphics. You can get the print format just like you like it. Obviously, we don't have a printed version of the Family History Guide because it would be just really hard to maintain and to keep up to date and humongous and expensive, all of those things. But selective printing can be very helpful for a lot of people. Okay, let's go back, see what's next. Number 3, practice exercises. Choose from hundreds of record search exercises from collections around the world. So a number of years back, Family Search actually asked us if we wouldn't mind trying to create some exercises that can give some research practice while people are using the Family History Guide. And we thought that's a good idea. So we embarked on that. And of course, when we do things, we really do them. So now we have close to 800 record search practice exercises sprinkled throughout the Family History Guide for record collections from around the world. Oops, I went ahead here. Here we go. All right, so we'll go to the website here. We're going to go to the trainers menu and practice exercises here. Okay, so practice exercises are designed to get you familiar with different record collections by giving you some problems to solve and activities to do. And it's kind of private. I mean, you can use it as a training method and so forth, but the initial idea was for people to be able to do these exercises on their own and get familiar with record collections in a no-stress environment, no pressure, just work with the collections and see what you can find out. So we have basic exercises that are marked with green dots, intermediate exercises marked with blue dots, and some advanced exercises marked with brown dots in the Family History Guide. There's even a 5-minute feature here that you can watch on this practice exercises page that will help give you the idea here. So what I'm going to do here is just show a sample exercise. And like I mentioned before, these are sprinkled throughout the Family History Guide in the country and state pages everywhere. but they all pretty much look like this. There's a link that says Record Search Practice. When you click that, then you get a situation and a problem to solve. So Daisy Bullock was born in Virginia, used this particular record collection, FS is Family Search, a quick link, that's a link directly to that record collection to answer these questions. So you would click on that quick link, which we're not showing you here, but it is available in the Virginia State page, of course. And then you try to answer, when was Daisy Bullock born? Where was she born? And what is her mother's first name? And if you need some hints, here's some basic tips on doing searches. And then here are the answers that you can check and see. So this gives you the advantage of being able to get a little more comfortable with record collections, working with them. And not only in the United States, but we have practice exercises from countries around the world. So you'll get practice in reading or translating different languages and customs and all types of records, whether they're vital records, probate, military, cemetery, all sorts of different things like that. And then you can click these titles and hide them back up again. So how do you find all of the exercises instead of having to hunt all the way through the Family History Guide? Well, we do have a directory of exercises, and it's in this spreadsheet that you can download or access from the site here. So here it is. And we are looking now at United States, countries, and so forth. And the tab down here, you see countries, United States, and others, England counties, Canada provinces. So you could go to Australia civil registration, and you could click that. You would go to the place in the Family History Guide, and then you scroll down a bit, and you would see a record search practice exercise that you can use, and you can start clicking the different information and so forth. So that's a window. This spreadsheet here is a window into how to find all of those different ones. US states, I'm looking at the tabs on the bottom there. And this is a huge assortment of different records here. I could scroll down, let's say New York, and go to death records and click the link there and scroll down a bit. And here's your record search practice for New York death records. So this can help give you some ammunition for classes or exercises that you're trying to do that are focused on particular counties, states, countries, and so forth. And then there's England counties, Canada provinces. So we're adding more. We're going to add some more intermediate and advanced exercises. Most of the exercises we have at this point are basic or beginning level exercises, and we want to get people comfortable and consistent with using record collections, whether they're from Family Search, Ancestry, or wherever. Now, one thing to note is that some of the practice exercises refer to ancestry record collections, and most of them that we refer to are available and free, but there may be an occasional one that may require a subscription. So if you hit one of those, then there are alternatives. You can go to a Family Search Center, you can get a trial subscription, you can get a member subscription from the Church of Jesus Christ of Latter-day Saints, or you can go to another exercise. So different options you have there. So that's that giant spreadsheet of showing you how to access the different research practice exercises there. Okay, so that was number 3. Let's go on to number 4 here, class outlines. And you're going to get the full training meals delivery style. Okay, so think of this as someone who just delivers hot and yummy food right to your kitchen, and you just serve it up with a minimum amount of preparation. And you can customize it. It's not like you have to take everything that's there. You can make some changes and so forth, and we'll explain the details here as we go into that. Okay, so we're going to go to the trainer's menu. And here are class outlines. Okay, I'm going to scroll down a bit. One thing to note is that class outlines are not provided for classes or presentations on learning Family Search, Ancestry, MyHeritage, or Find My Past. Those topics can be taught directly from the steps in the choices in each learning path. And then you also have exercises, resource articles, videos, show me slides. So all of those tools help you learn the platforms like Family Search, Ancestry, MyHeritage, Find My Past. Then what are the course outlines targeted towards? They're targeted towards learning research principles and learning how to do research in specific areas, countries, states, provinces, that type of thing. So I'm going to go down here just a bit. And let's open one here, gather records. Okay, so what happens when I click this? It opens up a slide here. And believe it or not, the class outline, each class outline consists of exactly one slide. And you may think, well, that's a little bit strange. What's the purpose of a slide deck if you only have one slide? Well, the whole key here is the speaker notes. So there's this bar in Google Slides. It's important to know that you can pull that thing up. I'm dragging it upwards, and now you see the speaker notes. And I'll just walk you through very quickly. It says goal 1, gather your records. Choice A, resources. Let's see if I can, make this a little bit bigger in case you're trying to read it. FS, gather family information. Okay, so what we're doing here is we're actually referring to choices and places in the family history guide. So this goal, I'm going to actually pull this back out here, and I'm going to click this link, which is basically where we're studying here in the family history guide. So here's that gather family information. Here's the article that we were talking about. And it's got different things. And if we go back to our record here, or our class outline, and pull up on that. In family records, read and discuss the first paragraph, focusing on records, and then review and discuss the bullet point items. And let's see, got to find my, okay. So it may seem a little awkward right now, but the thing that you do when you're actually running this class outline is you use the presenter mode in Google Slides. So in Google Slides, there is a presenter mode here, up here in the slideshow in the upper right. You can use present, start from the beginning, speaker notes, and so forth. And basically, you can just run through that. And basically, as you present, and I don't have this turned on right now, but there will be a little rectangle over here in the corner with all of these speaker notes, and you will be the only one as the presenter that sees these. So this is kind of like your placeholder. And what you see in the screen here basically will be the website itself. Here we go, there's the tab. So you'll be seeing this, and you'll have a little box over here with all of the instructions, like say this, open up this article, discuss this, and so forth. And you are going to appear pretty brainy because you're basically just going down through this list of items, but it sounds like you have total control over where you're going because you're just reading through the items and the suggestions that it gives you about what to talk about, where to go, and how to take advantage of these resources that are in the family history guide. So in terms of preparation, what you would want to do is take a look at the speaker notes on this page and just go through and review them. Here's choice B. I'm going to be clicking this link. Pause there. Oh, here's a video. I pause it at 48 seconds, pause at 2:37. How to find research clues. And so when you cover all of those things, these are kind of like the compressed ingredients. Just add water and you have a training class that you can present to other people with a minimum amount of study, and you don't need the extensive slide decks and handouts and so forth, because the learners can use the website itself and obviously take that home with them. If they want to go farther, they can continue on and do their own study as well. So class outlines, let's go back to, here we have also a Spanish version. So if you're doing a training in Spanish, or if that's a necessary thing, in your organization or stake or whatever, you can get them all in Spanish as well. And we can click these links here to hide. So learning to do research, learn the basics, form a strategy, all based on choices and goals inside the Family History Guide. DNA research, United States research, US states, there's 3 for each state alphabetically. The basic, vital records, and more records. Canada, we're still working on that one. Provinces, England, and counties. And then we've got additional countries. This is what we've been working on lately. We've gotten up through Denmark, and we're going to be working through different countries as well. So, and these are a lot of fun. You can learn lots of really interesting things. One focus of the Family History Guide, you may be thinking, okay, so how is the Family History Guide differentiated from the Family Search Wiki? How would you sum that up in a few sentences? Well, the Family Search Wiki is very, very extensive. There are like over 100,000 articles. So the Family History Guide is not nearly that extensive. But one thing that the Family History Guide does is it reaches across to a wider variety or a wide variety of resources that include blog articles and videos. So that you'll get a lot more references to blogs and current articles and videos in the Family History Guide training materials and website than you might get in the Family Search Wiki. So it provides a different perspective there. Plus, you'll be tapping into other sites' training materials, such as Ancestry Academy videos and MyHeritage Wiki articles and so forth, all presented in a format that makes it concise and easy to follow. Okay, so take some time, get used to the, here we go, get used to the course outlines, practice it a bit. As you practice and get familiar with the classes and the content there, you'll find that it's a wonderful way to put together training classes on just an amazing amount of different topics. We have over 230 class outlines already done that you can download, customize, study briefly, and then practice with some friends, and then take them live and do classes at a Family Search Center or on Zoom or wherever you'd like to. Okay, so let's go on. The Q&A Center. So someone has a family history question. How would you answer it? This is sometimes particularly daunting for volunteers who work at Family Search Centers. And I've seen some who work there that are actually kind of reluctant to answer questions because who knows what people are going to ask when they come in the door. And sometimes if we don't know the answer, we might feel a little bit awkward or embarrassed. So the Q&A Center is a tool for consultants or for anybody that needs to be helping and mentoring in family history learning experiences. Let's take a look at that. So we're going to go up to, let me move my bars there. Going to go up to the Q&A Center towards the bottom of the trainers. And I'm going to scroll down just a bit here. And we have these different categories, learning, family search, and partners such as Ancestry, MyHeritage, and Find My Past. You can view or download the sheet here. So let's do that just to view it. And we're going to have some tabs at the bottom. Right now we've got about, so this is just kind of background information, how you can customize the sheets for your own. But then we get into the meat of the material here, Family Search 1, Project 1 Family Tree. So I click that, and here is a question. So you kind of read it in reverse order. So a question is, how do I create a Family Search account? And then here's the topic, it's sign in, and here's the link, project, goal, and choice in the Family History Guide of where you might click to find the information there. It takes you there and it tells you how to create an account and so forth. So the idea is you can use this as self-study. Consultants or whoever can use this as self-study. How prepared might you be to answer these questions? Look up the answers there in the Family History Guide if you don't know. And it can also be a good tool for trainers. They can do some exercises. Okay, closed book. We're just going to ask you a few of these questions. How would you answer them? Or it could be open book or open website. Ask some questions and have them look up answers if needed, or do whatever they can that way. So we've got Family Search 1, Family Tree, Family Search 2, Memories, dealing with uploading photos, documents, and so forth. If we go back to the Q&A center here, you'll also see a category for Research Essentials. And that has, you can also go right to the particular sheet, like basic research, click that and you go right inside, and here's your questions and answers, and here's some sources and the answer links in the Family History Guide. So that gives you a lot of ammunition for training on preparation to answer family history questions, United States research, countries research, and so forth. All right, that's the Q&A center. Let's go back. Number 6, show me slides. You can learn family search and ancestry visually, step by step. So usually in the Family History Guide, you'll walk through the steps, the goals, the choices, and steps and resources, and learn family search by reading articles and following the instructions. But for those who are more visually oriented, we do have tools called Show Me Slides. So let's go to the website, and we're going to go to Learning Paths Family Search. And we're going to go down here to goal number 1 and just pick one of the choices there. So now we're inside goal number 1. And now you have show me goal 1. So this basically is a Google slide deck. It does have multiple slides. So when I click that, it loads up and it starts showing the slide, and you can just click to advance and see cause and effect type situations. Zooming in, this is how you do it, and landscape, zoom out, the buttons that you click and what happens and so forth. So that helps if you're oriented more towards a visual approach there. And we can go back to show me slides here, and we have them. They're mostly based on family tree, family search family tree. We do have some for Project 2 Memories, and we're going to be adding some for Ancestry in the future as well. Okay, let's go back to slides. And number 7, quizzes. So ready to test your knowledge? Try these quizzes on family history platforms and country research. Let's see what that's about. So up in the trainers menu, we're going to go to quizzes. This is almost at the bottom. And we have an overview quiz, kind of like the whole banana, of the Family History Guide. And then we have project quizzes, Family Search Project 1, Family Tree. If I click on that, I get an interactive quiz, and there's quiz instructions, and I can, start the quiz and so forth. And just lots of different possibilities there. Let's go back to this. One of the things that's interesting that I've noticed when I'm doing this via Zoom, sometimes the screen gets compressed and it doesn't show the button for starting the quiz, which is kind of weird. I'm going to have to figure out why that happens on Zoom. But anyway, you can go to these quizzes, and it's actually pretty cool. You can click and start up the quiz, and each question has 3 options. There's true and false, multiple choice, mix and match, those types of things. And 80% is considered passing, and you can gauge your progress in learning all these different things. If we scroll down a ways more, we've got more goal quizzes here. And we even have some country quizzes. And these country quizzes are based on articles for the United States, but for other countries, they're based on quick research basics videos. And those are found in Goal 1 and in the YouTube playlist. So we'll talk about those a little bit more. I wonder if these are going to cooperate. Nope, they don't cooperate. So I will figure that out, why that's happening via Zoom. But meanwhile, enjoy them on your own as well. Okay, so that is quizzes. Number 8, the Family History Guide for libraries. All right, there's a libraries page for resources, and you can learn how to become an unofficial librarian, or in other words, learn how to think like a librarian as you're using the Family History Guide. And what I mean by that is you don't need to be the library, you just need to be the librarian. So in other words, if you can find the information, that's just as good as knowing the information yourself. So we'll go up here to trainers, and the bottom it says libraries. And this basically has some tips for librarians on how they can help patrons do self-paced learning. Here's some tools, navigation, and so forth. And the search bar, that little blue magnifying glass that you use up here, that can be super important in helping other people find items in the Family History Guide if they don't know or are not exactly sure where they are. Customized training, we've talked about these items here, how to involve youth and children. So this gives librarians a great opportunity to spread family history and get people involved without having to set up elaborate classes and develop a lot of training material themselves. And there's more things in the Family History Guide there. Okay, getting close. We have 10 of these in total, so we're on number 9. Online tracker sheets. This is somewhat new. You're probably familiar with the online tracker database. That's a place where you can create an account, log in, and keep track of your learning information. But we've also added a Google Sheets alternative to that, and I'll show you how that works here. Oops, I went up too far. All right, so in the tools menu, here you have your online tracker. That's where you would create an account and so forth. But Sheets, let's take a look at that. So online tracker Sheets. We have all of these different sheets here. Now you may be thinking or wondering, well, when should I use the regular online tracker database and when should I use the sheets? A couple of things about the online tracker database. It's great for tracking your learning progress, particularly with the platforms like Family Search, MyHeritage, Ancestry, Find My Past. And you can move slider bars and this type of thing. And you can also run a variety of reports about learning progress. One of the things that is a little bit more difficult to do with the database version is the note-taking space is pretty limited. So if you need to take a lot of notes, and especially that would come in handy as you're doing research in different countries, then that can be a bit of an issue. So if we go over here to, for example, country sheets and British Isles, then you've got, I'm going to move my bars around here. Then you've got all of the different choices and goals like you have in the online tracker database. But you also have this checklist here where you can check if you've done practice exercises, and you have a huge note-taking space. And if you're familiar with spreadsheets, obviously you can type whatever you want to in there and you can just expand and go down as much as you want to. And because this is customizable and downloadable, you can even insert your own rows if you needed to put additional information in there. So you can customize the thing and kind of make it your own. Just keep in mind as you do that, you may be diverging from the version on the website, so you want to check occasionally to see if updates have been made in the online version. But there are countries, England, Scotland, Ireland, Wales, and actually I'm going to go back and leave that. And yeah, you can do all these states, provinces, and so forth. US states. And here, if I go across across the bottom, you see all of these state abbreviations. So you've got Florida here, and you've got your practice exercises over there. You've got notes and the choices and goals and objectives that you're going to be doing. You can type notes. So a very handy study system built in there with the new flexible Google Sheets for the online tracker. And those are available in Tools and Online Tracker Sheets right there. All right, and last but not least, number 10, YouTube videos. So let's go check that out. In the media menu, we have YouTube. And I'm going to go over and concentrate just on a couple of playlists here and bring up the playlists. And two that I want to note. One is Quick Research Basics videos. I'm going to click View Full Playlist. And these Quick Research Basic videos are usually about 3 to 8 or 9 minutes long. And they feature research tips for countries around the world. And as you're inside the Family History Guide, those items will show up near the top of a particular goal for that country in the Family History Guide. So you have all of these, most of them done by James Tanner, a few by Miles Meyer, and they're excellent, outstanding, quick nuggets of research information there. And I'm going to go back here, another playlist, and this is pretty new. This is called Inside the Guide. I'm going to click there. We just have 4 of them, but if I click the England one here, and you probably can't hear, there's some audio there. But as I go through this, basically it spotlights the databases and websites. So it's going to refer you to a place in the Family History Guide, this UK BMD site. And this is what it actually looks like when you start using it. Phillimore Marriages for marriage records in the UK. This is how you would click it and what it starts looking like. So you can get an armchair view of databases and websites and what they're about without having to dig into all of them, just by watching the video and watching the slide progressions of the information of what you do to search and the types of information you would find. So those are really cool, and a fairly new edition. We'll be adding those later on. All right. So that takes us through our slide presentation and review of training materials in the Family History Guide. With that, I will turn the time back over to Olivia in case there are questions that you would like to ask or comments and so forth.
Okay, thank you so much, Bob. I think we have one question in the chat. Diana H says, do you have training lessons on the Memory app and other phone apps?
We don't, those are coming. So the Family Tree app and the Memory app, we need to develop those. So those are on the docket to be done.
Okay, doesn't look like we have any other questions, so we can go ahead and close.
Okay, thanks everyone. If you like the Family History Guide, check it out and find us at Roots Tech either virtually or in person. And thanks, Olivia.
Thank you so much everyone for joining us today. We hope you will join us for our next webinar, which is on January 29th with Maureen Brady on Scottish family history research, historical and geographical background. A recording of this webinar will be made available next week. You can view that on our YouTube channel or on our website. If you have any comments or questions, you can always email us at fh_webinars@byu.edu or follow Facebook and Twitter. Thank you and have a wonderful week.